In every society, true progress is measured by how the most marginalized people are treated. In Liberia, persons with disabilities have long faced exclusion in work, education, policy, and in life. But in 2021, change began. It was bold, it was inclusive, and it was called Cad L, the Coordinated Action on Disability in Liberia, reaching 5 of Liberia's 15 counties, including Bomi, Bong, Lofa, Montserrado, and Nimba. Cad L was led by AIFO and co-implemented by the National Union of Organizations of the Disabled (NUOD), the National Commission on Disabilities (NCD), the Liberia Labour Congress, and DKT International, with funding from the Swedish International Development Agency (SIDA). Cad L was more than a project. It was a movement, a coordinated effort to transform systems, attitudes, and lives while ensuring that persons with disabilities, PwDs, becomes agents of change.
The condition of person with disability has always been derelict in Liberia, and CADEL was like a saving grace. Though it was not 100% accurate intervention, but it was a start. And I always like to look at CADEL as planting the seed.
The CADL program can be presented as transformative, a real transformative initiative. The combination of inclusion, local ownership, empowerment, and alignment with the Liberia's development agenda was the core reasons why we wanted to fund and work with the CADL.
Coordinated action on disability in Liberia. And I stand to be corrected, but in Liberia, AIFO is one of the longest standing NGO or INGO working in this sector. And the project is very empowering because its desired aim is to ensure that people with disabilities are not just passive recipients of donors' interventions, but they are acting as active citizens for change.
Well, AIFO has two main areas of interest. One is care and one is inclusion. In particular, the CADEL project is under the assets of the inclusion of persons with disabilities, but there is a portion of CADEL that is actually related to the care of persons with disabilities, because we also discuss and talk and we do a lot of sensitizations around the health and rights of persons with disabilities as well. So actually CADEL projects is in line with the objective of the inclusion of persons with disabilities, as I said before, a 360-degree in the societies, but it also take into account that the inclusion of persons with disability has to come with the health services to include persons with disabilities in order for them to be able to live a life that is actually comprehensive and they can benefit of their full rights.
Inclusion does not begin with policy or projects. It begins with perception. For too long, persons with disabilities in Liberia have lived in the margins, seen but not understood, present but not heard. Cad L knew that teaching systems meant first changing attitude. In 5 counties, OPO 1.1 launched a multi-tie awareness campaign, including radio shows, roundtable dialogues, video production, and screening, all led, produced, and hosted by PwDs themselves. Cad L's awareness campaign was not only about broadcasting information, it was about building a national narrative that repositions persons with disability from being objects of pity to agents of change.
I'm Peter B.K. Flomo. I'm the president for the National Union of Organizations for the Disabled, the umbrella organizations of persons with disabilities within the land and birth of the Republic of Liberia, to work with the coordinated action on disabilities in Liberia that is headed by AIFO, and we there as co-partner ensuring that organizations of persons with disability are involved within the Cad L project, and also we there to talk on inclusion. We went as far being part of different aspects that has to do with the project, including the business startup. So the union have the business startup component, in which the union was trained by the Business Startup Center, which is BSC. So the union also did different components that have to do with video campaign, that have to do with we are one talk show, and etc.
What has changed is that this project, I say, is a blessing. It started with the radio program, the decent well talk on the radio show, decent well for PwDs, and then society start to hear the message. Even PwDs themselves were inviting community members and other people in society to listen to that talk show sponsored by the AIFO project Cad L. Yes, that even when we went on the first assessment to monitor and to assess how effective it was, PwDs women were crying and they were giving the testimonies that the radio program is indeed a breakthrough.
And when someone got problem with the ear, you say hard of hearing or hearing impaired. And not deaf. You say someone deaf, you know, everything goes down the ear. So when I say the disability, don't see the disability, see the person, who that person is, and what that person wants to achieve. And because of that, most of us don't give person with disability chance to prove themselves, to even go to school, don't get a scholarship, or even get a job, and say, oh, my job can every Tuesday, yeah. When you have your first person will give it to you. You can put the person in your salary. The person needs to be on salary, but first when you disability, you see that the person now fit to get good salary, to get spouse tax on a job, to get gasoline, to get medical attention, every good benefit. And nobody who went in, you will get it, whatever you just go on now.
Awareness changes minds, but to change lives, systems must change. Policy without participation leads to failure. But Cad L was never just about talk. It was about transformation through collective ownership. In Liberia, the labor market is largely informal, fragmented, and historically unwelcoming to persons with disabilities. Yet, through Cad L, something unprecedented happened. A unified front made up of the government of Liberia, employer organizations, and labor unions came together to form a powerful tripartite alliance. Their mission: to ensure that no one is left behind in Liberia's world of work. With collaborative effort and support from the Liberia Labor Congress, the Ministry of Labor, the Liberia Chambers of Commerce, and other stakeholders. The Cad L Coalition facilitated a process that brought voices from every sector to the table, including persons with disabilities themselves. The result: Liberia's first disability inclusive decent work roadmap, a living policy framework designed to promote equitable employment, workplace accessibility, and enforceable labor rights for persons with disabilities.
The tripartite is about stakeholders. You have the Chamber of Commerce, you have the Labor Congress, and you have administration. Administration is government.
Before the Cad L project, I think it was about 15-20%, because it was just limited and it was not reaching, it was not affecting our society at large. So before that time, it was just a little understanding or a little knowledge or advocacy, which was limited to through CBA.
The social dialogue component of the project is aimed at creating a collective agreement with decent work for persons with disability in Liberia, a roadmap. So it has been a collective bargaining process, a collective concession building process where different social actors and private actors came together from county level and national level to bargain on how we can design a collective agreement for persons with disability. The roadmap is actually aiming at creating access to the work environment for persons with disability. What's rewarding is the fact that after our final evaluation, this report that came out, that 99% of our participants, our different stakeholders reported improved knowledge on the work rights of persons with disability. I think that is very important.
Impressive have been the increased employment opportunities for persons living with disabilities. There has been more people with disabilities being employed both in public and private sectors. And there are several success stories of people having been able to go to vocational training programs, and as a consequence of having a vocational training, also being employed. That has been one change. And as we also talked about the policy environment, we have also seen proof of strengthened policy environments. There has been disability inclusive clauses that have been integrated into the national employment and social protection policies that reflects the Cad L advocacy work towards the government.
For many persons with disabilities, formal employment remains out of reach, but Cad L offers a different path: entrepreneurship. With support from the Business Startup Center Monrovia, 33 disability inclusive businesses in cloth making, agriculture, technology, and general goods and services were trained in business development, received seed funding, and launched with continuous coaching and mentorship, access to market through market fairs, etc., enabling 86% successfully running businesses. For PwDs, business isn't just about income, it's about dignity, confidence, and control. These entrepreneurs are now role models in their communities.
So the stereotype like there is they are beggars, right? And before they had the knowledge, but they never had access to finance. All right. So to transition from being a business person to an entrepreneur is your ability to identify a problem, and then your idea that becomes the innovation that serves as a solution would turns out to become the actual work that entrepreneurs does, that is to create, innovate, provide solutions. So at that time we met them, they had the knowledge, but they could not actualize it. So we provided the business development knowledge, we provided the business development skills, we provided the financial management understanding, we provided the teamwork, right? We provided tangible documents that they could read, understand, and today they've transitioned from being in the beggar stage to be self-reliant, to be self-sustainable, to be job creators. So it's a whole lot of gain when it comes to them within the different counties.
I'm Emery Emergency, officially impaired. I lost my sight 2043 years of age. From the Cad L project, they have taught me a lot of things when it comes to business, how to save funds, how to generate funds, how to put people together, how you people can work together to succeed, training other people business. It just made me go wide. It just developed more value for me. More value are developed for me, the Cad L project.
The thing that changed in my life now is that in our life, because I can say mine, the thing that changed our life now is that we get an idea on business. We know how to make our business. We can just use our business money any kind of way we feel it. So this is one of the things that improved my life. And again, through the business, we were able to establish a very saving loan from the profit that we generated from the money. And from this very saving, we are able to give loan to one another. That some people are doing their own business, that we're even able to send our children. When school is about to open, we can go in the very saving with credit, with small interest, 10%. And most of life school members, you can see them on the street now. Some people doing their own business, which every one of us are involved in the very saving loan.
The money is not too much back from the work of the community. I'm going to say, oh my, they see. I got a lot of children with me, and I have my 4 children, my husband died for me. Later, my back came on my way and started to help me. We're just doing a little business. My children first year when I'm in school. My children did school in good school now. But the other one was attending Martin. She graduated from there. The one that only table that she told me she want to go back to the same school, and she dead now. I can't go to this stuff. And again, the changes AIFO bring into my life are bought in. This is 7 when AIFO came in, I said the profit I had in me.
Meanwhile, for many youth with disabilities in Liberia, the door to employment has always remained closed, locked by stigma, inaccessibility, and a lack of opportunity. Cad L didn't just unlock the door, it redesigned the whole entryway. In partnership with vocational institutions, Cad L reimagined the technical, vocational education and training system, transforming it from one of exclusion to one of empowerment. Cad L recognized that while entrepreneurship empowered more persons with disabilities, others needed formal skills, recognized credentials, and experience to compete in the job market. A joint accessibility assessment was carried out with NUOD and NCD to identify barriers. Cad L facilitated infrastructure upgrades, including construction of ramps and accessible bathrooms. Cad L trained TVET instructors and administrators on inclusive teaching methodologies, right-based approaches to disability, use of assistive tools, and differentiated instruction. Cad L opened doors not just to businesses, but to skills,
The difficulty is that we that have the disabilities, we are now well known in the society. They now recognize us. Sometimes we can be qualified to do some work that the people doing, but when they look at our condition, they cannot accept us for us to do it. So these are the difficulties we are facing in the community.
Nowadays, the whole world is a technology world. So being a public health for what? Even agriculturalists now, they need computer knowledge. Because one thing computer do is computer make everything easier. So as person with disability, when I have computer knowledge and then do public health, maybe I may be able to be ORC somewhere and then to get my data will be very easy because I have some computer skills or computer knowledge.
They actually been trained to attend a PwDs, but I never have the financial support in terms of donation and material purchasing. So what we've been praying to God for God to send me sponsor, I will be able to, add value to myself through vocational skill. Luckily, when after like working with that project and then I've been in touch with Luther, and then I was able to fill the form, the interview, and completed my process. So when it was told me that it was PwDs, I was so happy.
I've worked a lot because now I was saying that for I want to know about the learning bit. So AIFO tell me I can't learn till they help me a lot because the thing what I know it now. Sometimes I don't know to pay machine, nothing, now all I want to know. I can so small now. All I want is small now. I have help me.
Disability includes many identities, and women with disabilities have the right to express their sexuality. However, many sexual and reproductive health and rights programs often overlook these women, leaving them unsupported and isolated. The Cad L initiative aimed to change this by empowering women with disabilities to find their voices and claim their rights. The peer-to-peer education provided a supportive space for women to share their experiences and advocate for their needs. Through these efforts, Cad L promotes inclusion and encourages society to better understand disability and sexuality.
Prior to this Cad L project, there was a little information to PwDs, especially women, about their sexual reproductive health and rights. And for the service provider, they had limited knowledge on how to provide sexual reproductive health care services to persons with disability, especially women and children.
AIFO, first of all, I want to appreciate them for their role. The role, especially when it comes to healthcare delivery, the service provider are those failure points, these health facility staff that they have been training. There is change in their behavior towards people with disabilities. Because if the person don't interact well, it makes those people to stay away from the facility. And to say we have a society or a health system inclusive of PwDs, I mean, we should be able to relate to them properly. Calling them names that are not appropriate may make somebody to stay away. So the training that is being passed on from AIFO to service provider is very helping in our federal facilities.
We were taught not to carry on discrimination or to stigmatize our patients. That is to call someone who is suffering from disability by their condition. Like, oh, you crippled woman, I crippled woman, daughter, I crippled woman, son, no. But we should learn to call them by their name and give them equal rights too.
Yes, I learned a lot of things. I went on the field, I learned SRHRs. Sexual reproductive health, right? And I have my rights. to say no to me. I have my right to space between children. I have right to tell people no to things.
While projects may be temporary, institutions have the power to endure and create lasting change. Cad L has made significant investments in strengthening the foundation of Liberia's disability movement. As a result, organizations such as the National Union of Organizations of the Disabled (NUOD), the National Commission on Disability (NCD), and the Liberia Labour Congress have received several capacity building training in financial management, reporting, monitoring, and evaluation, among others. They are now better equipped to advocate for and lead the journey towards inclusion for individuals with disabilities in Liberia. Cad L has ended, but the narrative it has inspired is only just taking shape. Over the course of its implementation across 5 counties, we've witnessed transformative changes in the lives of thousands, from enhanced access to resources to increased community engagement. The impact of these initiatives have not only reshaped individuals' experiences but have also transformed the very systems that support them. This is the embodiment of true inclusion, where diverse voices are heard and valued. And as we look to the future, it's clear that this is merely the beginning for an ongoing journey towards a more equitable society. Cad L, the Coordinated Action on Disability in Liberia.